First time I remember seeing my little brother after he passed away, it was a surreal, thing for me. It was more of a shock. I remember going to the shower. I was like 8 years old. I was going to the shower. We stayed in this old, you know, beat up, dilapidated building, and I had to go to the shower. And I remember going to the shower, and the windows were real foggy because the water was hot. And I remember hearing a voice, and hearing that voice, I recognized it as my brother. And I reached up and wiped away the fog from the steam from the window, I mean, excuse me. And it was my brother. And he was telling me not to be upset about him passing away, that I tried everything I can to help him. And, it was so sad to me because I realized later that that was a dream and it was just so real. But anyhow, the first time I went and saw a white coat, I was inside, and they sent me to go to this guy he had on him. He was a head shrink, and he was asking me all these questions or whatever. And I was telling him about these dreams that I was having about my brother. And I remember his pen was going at 100 miles an hour. I didn't know that he was putting me into a category that I never thought I belonged in. Some years had passed, and the dreams kept coming. I mean, a lot of them kept coming. It made me like a paranoid, scared to go to sleep at night. I was in again, and I had this dream about my brother. I went to his grave to visit his grave. He still had on the same blue suit with a red tie and a white shirt, but he was a grown man now, not as a 4-year-old child as he met his demise. And as I looked over into his grave, I remember telling him how fine-tuned his haircut was. And he was doing his arm like this. He was like stretching his arms out. And I was asking him, I say, Tony, man, why you doing your arms like that? He said, man, if you've been in this coffin all these years, every time they open it up, you will scratch out your arms like that too. And I remember waking up crying. And those dreams prepared me for a lot of things that I would see in my life, especially losing my mom, going to see her like that. And after losing her, I was preparing myself over all those years to see that people, you can't tell certain people certain things. And since I've been, a social media personality doing what I'm doing now, I saw that a lot of people said that they think I deserve to see a therapist or something like that. And going to see these people, they put you, they take your psychoanalysis and they compare it to other people's in the state, and they send it to these state boards, and this how they determine which people are going to the sick hospital, which people are going to be taking all of this medicine, which people are going to be taking all this medicine. So, excuse me again, that's how I determined early not to talk about certain things to certain people, because they put you in a category. And when they put you in that category, it's hard to come back. People start saying these things. So it has been a time that I thought myself to be a psychopath, not because of the things that I did, but the things that I was inheriting in my dreams, the things that I would envision. I mean, my mom, she met her demise. I find myself talking to her sometimes. But now I'm not ashamed to come on and say that. I find myself telling my brother how much I love him. I find myself telling my grandmother, my grandfather, my uncles and aunts, and all of those that preceded me in death. I tell them often that I love them, even though it's some people that I never met before, but we share the same genealogy. We share the same bloodline, and it ain't nothing wrong with that. You understand?